so glad to be seeing all of you again this evening. Thank you for deciding to join me again tonight. Now tonight I've got 3 more scary stories for you of the creepy encounters type, straight from Reddit. So get cozy, get comfortable, and get ready to be spooked. Now with that being said, and of course without any further ado, let's get into tonight's stories, shall we? Alrighty, so the first story is relatively short, but it is worrying. So this story was originally posted by a Reddit user called OKB71996. Their story is called Creepy Doordash Delivery. I finished getting ready for work today and decided to Doordash a frozen coffee from Dunkin'. I was alerted that the order was assigned to a dasher named Louise. I immediately messaged the dasher, as not one delivery person can ever find my apartment in my confusing complex, and I gave exact directions to my building, and I stated I would be waiting outside. I did my usual routine of tracking the progress, and when it showed that she was getting close, I headed outside to wait. I opened my front door and almost screamed as there was an extremely disheveled, dirty-looking older man standing right at my door. Now this door is inside a locked main door that requires a key or a code to be put in. Now, when I say dirty, I mean he literally looked like he came right from a construction site, and he gave off major creepy vibes. He had dirty hair and missing teeth, the whole 9. I exclaimed, "Oh my God, you startled me," when I noticed he had a frozen coffee in his hand. Now, I was highly confused, as I was expecting a female, as Louise is as far as I know, a female name. Now, he gave me the world's most unsettling smile, and he said, "Doordash." I said, "I'm sorry, you startled me. No one can ever find my building, and the doors are locked." He then replied, "Oh, I can get in anywhere I want to. Have a great day." He flashed another weird grin and walked away. I have no idea how this man got in. I had just taken the dog out and I locked the door behind me, and I live right next to the main door, and no one came in after me that would have propped it open or would have let him in. So how did this man get in, let alone end up at my doorstep? Where or who was Louise? Because he sure didn't seem like a Louise. really, really gives me the creeps. Jeez, Louise. What? I mean, I can 100% understand the original poster being beyond creeped out. If you are literally following your order on a tracker in an app, I'm guessing, and it says that your Doordasher is named Louise, and then a really scruffy and horrible looking man shows up at your door that he shouldn't be able to reach anyway. I mean, see, my first thought is, where is Louise? Like, what happened to Louise? Because there is no way in hell that this creep's name was Louise. I mean, I've never ever met or heard of a man called Louise. So where is Louise? What did he do to Louise? Like, that is honestly worrying to me. Maybe he uses a different name because he's a shady character and he wants people to, I guess, feel comfortable that it's going to be a woman delivering their Doordash. But that still doesn't make any sense to me because they'd see him when he shows up. And then it's super strange that, like, he's able to get into this locked main door without having a key or a code to get in, and nobody else entered through that door after the OP. Like, it is all just, it's super strange, and I am honestly worried about what happened to Louise. Honestly. To be honest with you, I probably would not have drank that frozen coffee anymore. I don't think I would trust it, seeing that it got delivered by a really scruffy looking old man named Louise who can get in anywhere he wants. I think that would be a hard pass for me, to be honest. Alrighty, the next story is also about a really creepy old man. This story was originally posted by a Reddit user called Boogaloey, and their story is called Like to Play Alone. I was a 16-year-old girl and an avid runner. I ran anywhere from 4 to 10 miles a day. Blimey, that tires me out just reading that. I had a few parks I rotated through and decided one day after school and before work to run at this pretty secluded park next to the river. It was a very hot day and I knew this park had a lot of shade. I usually carried a knife or pepper spray with me, but I forgot it at home and I didn't have time to go back before work. Coming in, I noticed a few mums with their kids at the playground and what I believed to be one of the children's grandpa watching the mums and kids were gone. I was a little uncomfortable since I believed I was all alone in this park. Something about when the mums were there comforted me. But now I was alone, so I thought. I'm nearly finished with mile 3 when out of the corner of my eye I see the grandpa starting to walk the track coming my way. I'm confused since I believed he was with the kids, but all of the kids were now gone. I didn't even see another car in the lot besides mine. And to make things even more creepy, he was sucking on a lollipop. Random, but somehow to me it added to the creep factor. My body is telling me to flee, but I'm a stubborn teenager who was determined to run 4 miles that day. I figured I would run past him and be able to just move on with my run. I mean, it's not like he could outrun me, right? I'm about 3 steps from him and doing all I can to pretend I don't see him, acting like I'm super focused and I can't be bothered. Just as I thought I had made it past him successfully, he somehow grabs the wire of my headphones. Now, I didn't have AirPods since this was 2010. Now, he grabs the wire and he then proceeds to pull the headphones out of my ears. I turn around and look at him, absolutely livid, but as a woman, I know I have to play nice to try and lessen my chance of being murdered. I look at him, I smile, and I say, "Are you okay?" Now, he takes a long pause, still sucking on that lollipop, then pulls it out and shows me this creepy grin that sent shivers down my spine. He looks me up and down and he says, "Like to play alone, huh?" Now, while he says this, he grabs a piece of my blonde hair that was in a ponytail. I smacked his hand off of my hair and sprinted as fast as I think I have ever sprinted back to my car. I had a 1994 Saturn that could only be unlocked manually with a key. So like any horror movie, it takes me a ridiculous amount of time and attempts to get the key in the hole. All the while, I can hear him walking towards me, slowly and steady. Finally, after what seemed like hours, but was most likely only a few seconds, I unlocked my car and I jumped in. I locked the door and soon after, the old man was almost to my car. I start the engine and start to back out of my parking spot. I see the man trying to get behind my car to stop me from backing up, but luckily I was fast enough so he wasn't able to. I booked it out of the parking lot and I didn't look back. I don't know what his plans were. I don't know why he was watching those children play, and I don't know how the hell he kept a lollipop in his mouth so long without it melting all the way. I'm so glad I didn't stick around to find out. Fast forward to now. I'm 28 years old and I have still never returned to that park, even though it's the closest park to my house. Hopefully that man is long gone. see. Wow. You know what I wonder? I wonder whether those families all of a sudden all left because that guy was staring creepily at their children. Now, if I was in the OP's place, I would probably also assume that this old man is a grandparent to one of the kids. Like, that seems most logical, right? But then all of a sudden, all the parents and all the kids are gone, and he is left there. So I wonder whether these parents got creeped out by this man who was sucking on a lollipop and looking at their children. I mean, I would be very worried, and I would probably also leave. It's just unfortunate that the original poster then ended up alone in that park with this guy. It's so freaking bold of him to just approach her and grab her headphone wires like that. Like, it's just wild to me. I'm so glad she managed to escape him. I feel like, I don't think a 16-year-old girl would have stood much of a chance against an adult male. It says nothing about, his build or anything like that, but if he has his mind set on taking her, essentially, then I don't think she would have stood much of a chance. Honestly, I am so glad that she was faster than him. I mean, this could have just ended so much worse for her. I can't believe he tried to prevent her from backing out of the parking lot as well. Like, this is a public area. It's not like there's no people at all on the street or like near that parking lot. It's just baffling to me. It's not like it's the middle of the night. It's around dinner time, the original poster said. So just the sheer boldness of this man. I guess if you have bad intentions, if you have a twisted mind, I guess you don't care who's watching. So, yeah, at any rate, I am incredibly happy that the OP managed to get away from that situation. And I 100% understand them not wanting to go back to that park, even 10 years after the fact. I mean, it would just bring those memories back up, and you wouldn't really want to take the risk. Alrighty. The next story was originally posted by a Reddit user called OK_narwhal465. Their story is called I'm Glad I Didn't Go Home. So, this was about 3 years ago, and it still creeps me out. I was 18, female at the time. I'm now a 21-year-old female. I was walking home from work at a local pizza joint, and I took my usual route home. It was about 10:15 or 10:15 in the evening, and it was super dark. As I'm getting about 100 yards away from the so I yanked out my earbuds and paused my music. I then proceed to turn down my street, and as I am getting closer to my house, I started getting this weird gut feeling. I look up from my phone as I was just about to text my roommate, who was out of town at the time, to let them know that I was almost home. I was about 15 yards away from the house. Now, as I look up, I notice the exact same white van sitting in front of my house. And the man inside is just staring at me, the yellow car light shining on his face. He had brown hair, glasses, and facial hair. His van lights were off, but his car was running. I stop and I turn my back to a tree in my neighbour's yard, and I just stood there. Now, I was maintaining eye contact with this man, and he was looking directly at me. After what seemed like an eternity, but was probably 5 minutes maximum, he starts driving towards a stop sign at the end of the road. I didn't turn my back on him, I didn't dare to. I kept my back turned to the tree and maintained a visual on the van the entire time until it stopped at the stop sign. Now, he was then sat there for about 2 or 3 minutes, and I keep looking at this van. I don't look away. And then finally, he turned right, the direction in which I had come from. And after about 20 seconds of making sure he or anybody else wasn't coming, I bolted to my house. I quickly get inside and lock the doors. I go to the window and very quietly look through the blinds. Now, I didn't turn on any lights inside because I'm not stupid. Now, after a few minutes of me looking through the blinds, I saw him drive back up and down the street, and then he left again. Afterwards, I texted my roommate about what happened, and then I went to each and every one of the windows of my house to make sure that they were locked, along with the back door and the garage door. I made sure to keep all the lights off for the remainder of the night. Now, I didn't sleep a wink that night. I was so paranoid at every sound or movement. Let's just say I never walked home on my own after that. Now, to me, it sounds like the man in the van knew exactly who he was waiting for. The fact that he knew which house to park at to wait for her to come home suggests to me, at least, that he must have been keeping an eye on her for a while before this incident. Maybe followed her around, or stalked her, because it's extremely suspicious that he would know where to park while waiting for this girl to come down the road. Now, the only thing that confused me is why he then this man. Unless, you know, he may not have actually seen her as it was really dark. Maybe he didn't notice her and he was just kind of staring into darkness, waiting for the original poster to walk down the street. Wow. Never trust white fans, people. I mean, why is it always a white fan? It's so cliche, but yet there's so many stories about creepy people in white fans. It's unreal. Now, I think it was very smart of the original poster to keep all the lights off, so as to not let this man know that she was actually home, because clearly, to me, this story suggests that he knew where she lived. So I think that was a really smart thing to do. Now, in the comments, the original poster goes on to say that she hasn't seen the van around since. But you know, it doesn't mean that that guy isn't still watching her. He could be in a different car, or she could just not have spotted the van. That is wild. That is wild. I'm so glad she got home safely, and I hope and I pray that this guy leaves her alone moving forward. Because if you're that persistent to park in somebody's driveway and wait for them to turn the corner and go into their house, I mean, that's dedication. That is dedication, and not in a good way. Alrighty, now sadly that was it for tonight's scary stories. I hope you enjoyed this video, and as always I want to thank all the wonderful Redditors who allowed me to share their experiences with you guys on the channel. And I of course want to thank you for choosing to hang out with me again tonight. Now, all there is left